recently I've been introduced to this product called Just Egg and also Gardein sausages, all made from plants. Just Egg is made from a bean called mung bean, and these, I believe, yep, they're made from soy. So mung beans and soybeans. And you gotta see this. Like, you'll never believe this. Like, the texture, they got it down. Okay, look at this. Whoa. Well, I didn't stop eating meat and dairy and eggs because I didn't like the taste. I stopped eating meat and dairy and eggs because animal abuse is wrong. And I can still enjoy the flavor. Wow. I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast. I have this article pulled up called 12 Egg Facts the Dairy Industry Doesn't Want You to Know. I'm gonna eat some breakfast and share some of these with you. Number 1, the global egg industry destroys 6 billion newborn male chicks every year. 6 billion, wow. I thought that was 6 million, but no, that's 6 billion newborn male chicks every year, yeah. Because they don't produce eggs, so I'm sure you've seen it. They go on this conveyor belt and then they get tossed into this. It's almost like a blender. Number 2, male chicks born to leg-laying hens cannot lay eggs and are not the breed used for meat. Hatcheries. It's kind of goes along with the first one. Hatcheries separate males and females through a process known as sexting. Since males are worthless to egg industry, they're disposed of like trash, either suffocated to death, I forgot to mention that, yeah, or ground up alive in a large industrial macerator. Or I've seen that footage as well, where they put them in plastic bags and they suffocate them. Number 3, look at this. Sausage, egg, toast. Eggs sold under organic, free range, and humane labels, and even chicks sold to backyard chicken keepers also have their origins in these killing hatcheries. True. I'd also like to mention that free range and the way that they depict free range isn't the way that it is. You may, see some of this footage and they're in these super small cages and you're like, oh, I can't support this industry, so I'll buy free range eggs. But free range, if you look up free range chickens, and you'll see that they're still in these sheds, except for they're not in cages, and the space that they have inside of these are almost like warehouses. They're like kind of like they're still like totally packed in there, side by side. Number 4, newborn chicks are more intelligent, alert, and aware of their environment than human toddlers, according to a recent scientific studies. In fact, many traits that were previously thought to be exclusive to human/primate communication, cognitive, and social behavior have now been discovered in chickens. That goes without explaining. We all know animals are intelligent. Dogs, cats. It's like we have this dissonance of animals that we eat and animals that we consider pets. Number 5, female chicks are sent to egg farms where, due to decades of genetic mutilation and severe breeding, they produce 250 to 300 eggs per year. In nature, wild hens lay only 10 to 15 eggs annually. Like all birds, they lay eggs only during breeding season and only for the purpose of reproducing. Yeah, it's like super hard on their bodies, and they're like genetically modified, so their legs will break and they can't like carry their body because of the genetic mutations. Also, their beaks, to prevent them from pecking at each other, they chop off their beaks under a hot blade. Number 6, This unnaturally high rate of egg laying results in frequent disease and mortality. Yeah, especially with COVID. I mean, COVID, swine flu, mad cow disease. It's like, are we ever going to learn? Not to mention that since these animals are in horrendous conditions, that they have to inject them full of antibiotics. So we're ingesting through them the antibiotics, which makes us resistant to antibiotics. So a lot of these viruses and disease that we could use antibiotics to fight, now we're not able to use them because we have a larger antibiotic resistance. Number 7, 95% of all egg-laying hens in the U.S., nearly 300 million birds, spend their lives in battery cages so small they cannot even stretch their wings. Packed in at 5 to 10 birds per cage, they can only stand or crouch on the cage's hard wires, which cut their feet painfully. In these maddening conditions, hens will peck one another from stress, causing injury and even death. You know, when I talk with some people about these things, they say, well, I only hunt my food. For some reason, everybody becomes a hunter all of a sudden. They only hunt their food, and it's so far from the truth, because we know that's not true. Oh, I only buy my eggs and my meat from the person down the street. Even so, it's still animal abuse, even if it's just the guy down the street. But nevertheless, if everybody is just buying from local farms and hunting for their food, then why is this such a huge industry? 8. Rather than give them more room, farmers cut off a portion of their sensitive beaks without painkillers. We talked a little bit about this one. A chicken's beak is loaded with nerve endings more sensitive than a human fingertip. Many birds die of shock on the spot. 9. Most hens on cage-free and free-range operations are also debeaked, as these labels allow producers to confine thousands of birds inside crowded sheds. Yes, we talked a little bit about this one as well. 10. In a natural environment, chickens can live 10 to 15 years, but chickens bred for egg laying are slaughtered, gassed, or even thrown live onto dead piles at just 12 to 18 months of age, when their egg production declines. Just horrible. I've been vegan for years. I started eating vegan when I was in high school. It took a long time. It was when I was in my mid-20s that I met my friend Johnny, that I did a talk with. I have a video on my YouTube channel where we're talking about common misconceptions or common questions, frequently asked questions that people ask vegans. But it was only after I met him and I started getting involved with the activist community, the animal rights community, and started going to the protests, the demonstrations, and I started watching these videos, that it clicked for me, that animal abuse is wrong. And when I understood that, then all of the other answers for all the questions of, like, say for instance, like we already talked about this, of why do vegans want to make their food look like meat? You know, when that concept doesn't fully click, that animal abuse is wrong, then some of these questions are hard to answer. But when I had that realization in my life, then I was like, Well, it's not because I don't like the taste. It's because animal abuse is wrong. So, just, you're on the right path when these answers start coming naturally. And the conservative part of the country that I grew up in, spent a lot of time gaslighting me into thinking that this lifestyle is ignorant. Number 11. During transport, chickens are roughly stuffed into crates and suffer broken legs and wings, laceration, hemorrhages, dehydration, heat stroke, hypothermia, and heart failure. Millions die before reaching the slaughterhouse. That reminds me of the story that Earthling Ed tells about when he first became vegan, or he wasn't vegan at the time. He always went to KFC. He loved going to KFC, and he was reading this article about this semi that was hauling all of these chickens to a slaughterhouse, crashed, and all of these chickens were mutilated on the road, and he just thought, oh my gosh, how horrible this is. And then it clicked for him, like, this minute, I have chicken in my refrigerator right now, and those birds were on the way to the slaughterhouse. And I just feel like through some of that critical thinking and self-reflection and asking yourself these questions, there's this moment where it just clicks for you. And I feel like veganism is at the root of a lot of social justice action, because when you realize that, then all these other things come along with it, of human rights, animal rights, environmental and ecological issues. Okay, last one. Number 12. Get out of here, fly. Number 12. At the slaughterhouse, most chickens bred for egg laying are still conscious when their throats are slit, and their hearts are still beating as the blood drains out of their mouths. Millions of chickens worldwide are still conscious when plunged into the scalding tank for their feather removal. They drown while being boiled alive. You don't have to do it. Look, still enjoying all the flavors. It's healthier, better for the environment. And asking yourself that question of, okay, what is a humane way to kill something that doesn't want to die? Get out of here. A lot of people will say that animals are here for us to eat them. And as long as they're killed ethically and humanely, then it's okay. But what is an ethical or humane way to kill something that doesn't want to die? This has been Breakfast with a Vegan. Wow, check this out one more time. Look at this. Eggs, toast, sausage. We didn't even cover on the health benefits. Eating a chicken abortion. Eating or drinking milk. I still eat a lot of junk food. Don't get me wrong. But being vegan doesn't necessarily mean you have to eat healthy. I still eat a ton of junk food. And it's more about the animals and about the environment for me. But if you want to be healthy, and I do like eating healthy, I feel like I'm in fairly good shape, and I feel healthy. I feel mentally clear. I don't feel lethargic or anything. So the options, there's a lot of options there, and it becomes easier when you're vegan. Until next time.